Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. Specifically, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter questions without answers. Today we're going to be answering some questions about the Harry Potter series that a lot of people probably don't know the answers to. From little tidbits to what may seem like major oversights, this video will cover them all. This is of course part 2, so if you haven't seen part 1 already, then go and check it out afterwards. Anyway, let's dive into it. Who were Harry's grandparents? What happened to them? James and Lily Potter were murdered by Voldemort at the very young age of 21. Given that they were so young, it would be reasonable to assume that some of Harry's grandparents would still be alive. Rowling has also stated that witches and wizards can live for a very long time, much longer than a normal human. So it always felt unusual that Harry didn't have a single grandparent. After all, he should have 4. So what happened to them? Let's start with Lily's. The books have stated that both of Lily's parents died normal Muggle deaths, without going into any detail. We know that they died sometime between 1971 and 1981, because in 1971 they saw Lily off to Hogwarts at platform 9 3/4, and in 1981 Lily was murdered. We know them to be dead at this point. It's unusual that they would have died in this time frame, and I'm really not sure what constitutes a normal Muggle death. It definitely isn't old age, because they would have been far too young. So if it wasn't old age, what's a normal death? Cancer? Heart attack? It's really hard to say. Provided that all of the information we have on their deaths groups them together, and that they were so young, I suspect some foul play. My theory is that because Lily was so prominent in the fight against evil, having defied Voldemort 3 times, she made her family a target. Because her parents were both Muggles, they would have had no means of defending themselves, and the Death Eaters could have visited them and ended their lives instantly. In a deleted scene from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Harry approaches Petunia and says the following in reference to the Death Eaters. "They'll torture you. If they think for a moment that you know where I'm going, they'll stop at nothing." To which she responds, "You think I don't know what they're capable of?" To me, this implies that Petunia knows more about the wizarding world than previously implied. She's initially painted as a little bit ignorant towards everything going on, but really I think that she knows exactly what's happening because she's experienced it before with not only Lily, but her parents as well. This would also explain her adamant hatred of everything magical. Next, James's parents, Fleamont and Euphemia Potter. As it happens, there is a canonical answer for the death of both of James's parents, dragonpox. Dragonpox is a contagious disease occurring in wizards and witches that can be fatal. It's similar in nature to the Muggle chickenpox and leaves little pockmarks on the skin that can result in a lasting greenish tinge. In some cases, it can result in a green and purple rash between the toes and sparks that come out of the nostrils when the patient sneezes. It sort of makes sense that they both would have died from this because they were vulnerable and old, having had James quite late in life, and the disease is very contagious. If Newt was expelled, why'd he keep his wand? After studying at Hogwarts as a Hufflepuff student, Newt eventually went on to become a famed magizoologist. In this vocation, Newt penned the wizarding world's best-selling text, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. However, Newt's education was not all smooth sailing, as at one point he actually found himself formally expelled from Hogwarts. In the school year of 1913, Newt's love interest, Leta Lestrange, had a failed experiment with a Jarvie, a magical creature resembling an oversized ferret. Her actions endangered another student and violated laws on Jarvie possession, risking her expulsion. To protect Leta, Newt took the blame, leading to his own expulsion from the school. But one thing I noticed about Newt's expulsion is that his wand remained intact, unlike Hagrid, whose wand was snapped. So, what's the deal? After all, Newt and Hagrid were kicked out of school for similar infractions, endangering students with their interests in magical beasts. There are a few possible answers to this question. Number 1 is that Newt had already completed his owls. In the wizarding world, completion of owls signifies a benchmark in mandatory education, and therefore suggests general proficiency with the wand and or spellcasting. Hagrid, on the other hand, had not completed his owls, and therefore had not proven his proficiency as a wizard. This could be the difference between having your wand snapped and not. Another explanation is that Dumbledore vouched for Newt. It's believed that Dumbledore either knew or suspected the truth, that it was actually Newt's fellow classmate and friend, Leta Lestrange, who was conducting the dangerous experiments, and not Newt. Therefore, Dumbledore went out of his way to ensure that Newt didn't receive the most severe form of punishment alongside his expulsion. The final key distinction lies in the severity of the incidents. In Hagrid's case, someone died, Myrtle Warren, and he was accused of reopening the Chamber of Secrets, a hidden part of the castle, housing a basilisk designed to kill Muggle-born students. When compared with Newt's crime, which stemmed from experiments involving a Jarvie, it really doesn't seem like Newt did much. What does Dudley see when attacked by Dementors? In the opening sequence of Order of the Phoenix, Harry and Dudley find themselves face to face with Dementors, in Little Whinging of all places. Finding themselves completely caught off guard, the boys were viciously attacked, and although Harry was able to produce a Patronus charm and save them both, they still both endured quite a horrific experience. Dudley seemed incapable of saying. He shuddered again and shook his large blonde head, and despite the sense of numb dread that had settled on Harry since the arrival of the first owl, he felt a certain curiosity. Dementors caused a person to relive the worst moments of their life. What would spoiled, pampered, bullying Dudley have been forced to hear? The book poses an interesting question here. What would Dudley have seen? And it's never actually answered. That is, until 2007, when J.K. Rowling addressed it in an interview. People usually ask me, what is it that Dudley saw during the Dementor attack? Rowling said, "My feeling is that he saw himself, exactly for what he was, and for a boy that spoiled, it would be terrifying. So he was jolted out of it. Dementor attacks aren't usually good for people, but this one was." How do Azkaban escapees get their wands back? Azkaban Prison, located in an unknown region of the North Sea, has held, over the course of history, some of the Wizarding World's most dangerous witches and wizards within its walls. It's here that magical folk are sent to pay for their crimes against the Wizarding World, and pay they certainly do, isolated from the rest of the world in a dark fortress guarded by Dementors. We've heard of some of our favourite characters being wrongfully sent there, Hagrid and Sirius, and the prison never seems to be short of Death Eaters within its walls, Igor Karkaroff, Bellatrix, Lucius, etc. But ultimately, all of the aforementioned witches and wizards got out of Azkaban, either through escaping or exoneration, and seemingly all of them got their wands back. So, what gives? The first thing worth mentioning is that many have speculated that the escapees simply acquired new wands, but the following statement from Hermione in the Deathly Hallows refutes this claim. But that's my point. This is the wand that tortured Neville's mum and dad, and who knows how many other people. This is the wand that killed Sirius. This implies that Bellatrix was in possession of her original wand. Therefore, I suspect one of a few possible answers. My first theory is that wands are stored indefinitely and intact at the prison until someone is released. In the case of Bellatrix Lestrange and Sirius Black, they were simply careful to go and retrieve their property before leaving the premises. My second theory is that wands are released to family or next of kin. In this instance, Bellatrix's wand would have been released to the Malfoys, who I'm sure would have been more than happy to return her wand to her. In the case of Sirius, it's also possible that he never retrieved his wand, and simply borrowed a wand from a fellow Order member following his escape from prison. How do new Hogwarts students know which robe to buy? When students arrive at Hogwarts School for the first time, it doesn't take long for them to get sorted into their respective houses. This is when they officially become a Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, or Ravenclaw. However, we also know that all first-year students go to Madame Malkin's in Diagon Alley to buy their school robes. This is prior to being sorted. Therefore, how on earth did they know which robes to buy? The answer to this one is relatively straightforward. They don't know, and that's because the house robe colours are more of a movie thing. This can be backed up by the Hogwarts school supply list. Uniform: 3 sets of plain work robes, black. 1 plain pointed hat, black, for day wear. 1 pair of protective gloves, dragonhide or similar. 1 winter cloak, black, silver fastenings. The films do mention students wearing the house colours on occasion, like during Quidditch matches, but this probably alludes to things like house scarves, which can be purchased after being assigned to your house. And on that note, that's it for today's video. This video only covered 5 of these, and I've got a growing list of about 100, so stay tuned for more. Also, if you enjoy the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.